RX.
Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for the podcaster that's so happy to be here, talking. No one's called me the Mandaborian before, but because that's a mouthful. Talk about, I'm not kidding. I have trouble spelling Mandalorian. And then they say, by the way, it's the Mandalorian. And I said, okay, don't even, like I said, I think I could probably, I don't know if I could spell Mandalore. The other thing is I don't know where I go wrong either. That's why I need, like, a spell check says, what do you, like, if well, sometimes I don't get it, but, if that's not, this is the kind of podcast where that's what I talk about right towards the beginning of the show. So it's time for Sleep With Me, a podcast made by a person that can sometimes successfully spell Mandalorian. Sometimes I can't, or sometimes I misspell it. I don't know which, it's an A or an O probably. I don't think I spell it Mandalorian, but, so I really, even now, I can't tell you where I go wrong. But I could tell you that this show is here to keep you company and take your mind off stuff while you fall asleep. So glad you're here. If this is your first time, I'm glad you're here. You deserve a good night's sleep. That's why I make the show. A lot of us know how it feels in the deep, dark night. The only thing I can tell you is give this show a few tries. It is very, very different than most. Listen, you've listened for 2 or 3 minutes. You say already, okay, there's something. This person, I'm being perfectly honest. But, like, I can't spell Mandalorian all the time. Some of the times I just can't look at it and know it's correct. But so that's the kind of relationship if you become a regular listener. But if you're looking for, like you said, well, I thought this was a sleep pod. I'm going to keep you company and put you to sleep podcast. So just see how it goes. Like over 1 million people have said to me, it takes 2 or 3 tries to get used to the show or said it in reviews or posts. So just see how it goes at first, but I'm so glad you're here. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. What we got coming up is support. That's how the show comes out free twice a week. Then there'll be a long, meandering intro meant to ease you into bedtime. Don't miss out on it. Holy cow. It is, I don't know what I'll be talking about, but I'll forget what I'm talking about and go off topic probably. And then there'll be, then we'll have some support, and then we'll talk about the season 3, episode 2 of the Mandalorian. And that's what else can I say other than other than what popped in my head is that Filoni and Favreau. That's like some nice alliteration. Holy mackerel! It's time for Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. And this is how we're able to do this for free for you twice a week. Hey, everybody, Scoots here. It's time to talk about Patreon. And I want to actually, we're having a sale just to the end of this month. You could save 16% on an annual patron of Sleep With Me. You're not going to want to miss out this summer. There's going to be so much new Patreon stuff. Catalog episodes, Fearless Flyer episodes, Walking with Scoots episodes, Walking with Ray episodes, and even more. You do not want to miss out. So sign up now by the end of the month when you're hearing this message. And you could save 16%. I think that's 2 months free. But I just want to walk you through the process. You could listen, the Patreon content you listen to for most patrons on the same podcast app they listen to the free show on. We recommend Pocket Cast, Overcast, Podcast Addict, but you could also listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. There's tons of different podcast apps you can use. So I'm just going to walk you through the process, whether you're a patron or not. Have your Patreon account or sign up. Go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, PatronFeed. sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, and it'll ask you to log into your Patreon account. It'll bring you to a screen that says Acast for Patreon. You'll click allow, and that'll just verify your account, and then it'll bring up a list of podcast apps you could listen in, and pick your app from that list. Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts. It knows what apps are even on your phone or your tablet. You can listen in more than one app. So if you want to try Pocket Casts, this is a great other tip I get from a lot of patrons. They have a dedicated app. Most patrons, it's Pocket Casts, where they only listen to Sleep With Me. They don't have any other podcasts in that feed, so they could turn off vocal boost, so they could turn off smart speed. They can set their sleep timers. So yeah, that's it. You click allow. You pick your podcast app from the list, give it a few minutes to open, especially if you're a $10 or $20 patron. There's like 2,000 episodes in there between all the bonus content, and you're good to go. If you're not a patron, you're hearing this, that's all you need to do. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed, log in, click allow, and pick your podcast app from the list. Follow or subscribe, whatever your podcast app uses, and you're good to go. Sign up now, though. You don't want to miss out on this sale. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron feed. All right, everybody, it's time for the Sleepy Supporter Zone, the one part of the podcast where I pop my peas, if you please. I thank the listeners who supported the sponsors. That's really how we come out free twice a week. Right now, I don't have any people who supported the sponsors to thank, and of course, I don't have my piece of paper that I had everybody else I was going to thank, but I want to thank everybody who's been filling out the survey on our sponsor site, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. And if you like, well, I guess the main thing I've been hearing is from people that are not in a position to support the show is how much they value it and how much they get out of it. And almost every person is either a person that just gets value out of the podcast. Maybe they're not in a place where they can support the podcast or support the sponsors right now, but they wanted to let me know how they felt about the show, and I really, really appreciate that. And the show will remain free no matter what I have to do. But we could use some support. If you're in a position to support the show, please think about supporting the podcast directly or support one of our sponsors and let them know about it. Or if you're in a position to support the show, if you could even just fill out the survey and let me know, give me more information of that would be huge. Like, any action you take is going to help move the podcast forward. Just like the people who say, hey, I can't afford the show, but I get a lot out of it. It really means a lot to me. It's a huge part of my life. That means I'll just figure stuff out. But if you're in a position to support the show, now's the time to take action. Either support the show directly or support one of the sponsors and let them know about it, or let me know about it. Fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors. So you'll hear me thanking people here coming up on the next couple ones. But that's the first part of Sleepy Supporter Zone. The second part is you getting the support you need right now. If you're in need of extra support right now, there's links to resources in the show notes you can access, including international resources. It's also about being a part of positive change, being a part of a community, and taking action, not just saying Black Lives Matter, not just saying stop AAP, I hate, not just saying support Ukraine, but taking action. There's links to resources where you can do that in our show notes. And one of the things we're doing as a community is building hygiene kits and supporting the Midnight Mission, which is a shelter in downtown Los Angeles. And if you want to take part in that, you could use the links right in our show notes. You could sign up for the Loot newsletter. You could support the Midnight Mission directly. You could purchase things through their Amazon wish list, or you could learn more and then you could take action. So please use the links in our show notes for that. And that's it. What do you say, Mr. Bard? A lot of people help out on the show. Who are they?
This posty poster song sounds like an earful. Wrote the theme song. Edits episodes. Carl W. the legend. Also edits episodes. Ashley, Kenny, Scotty, Jennifer. Runner. Eric and the team at Astound are on the website. I am the mystery bard. I do the lullabies, yeah. I do commissions at jonathanmann.net. I'll write a song for you. Any reason at all. You can tell me the story and I'll make it personal. You see the kindness shine straight on through when the listeners form their own Facebook group. Keith, Stacy, Sarah, Julie, and Jennifer. These are your moderators. Get support dear Scooter on Patreon. Buy the merch and support the sponsors. You can find anything you want at sleepwithmepodcast.com. And we're so proud that we could dance. Rusty Biscuit, Lois, Anna like banana. Leah does the transcripts.
Thanks, Mr. Bard. Remember, if you're looking for sleep phones, the most comfortable way to listen to Sleep With Me, sleepwithmepodcast.com/sleep phones. You get those Sleep With Me branded sleep phones with different Sleep With Me sayings on there. And you could save $5. Use the promo code Sleep With Me. What do you say we slow it down and get on with the show? Hey, are you up all night tossing, turning, mind racing, trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep? Well, welcome. This is Sleep With Me, the podcast that puts you to sleep. We do it the bedtime story. All you need to do is get in bed, turn out the lights, and press play. I'm going to do the rest. What I'm going to attempt to do is create a safe place where you could set aside whatever's keeping you awake, whether that's thoughts, things on your mind from the past, the present, the future. Sometimes I don't know the difference with my thoughts. It could be feelings, anything coming up for you emotionally related to those thoughts, or it could be physical sensations, changes in time, temperature, routine, and to change it. Like I was just thinking about time change, because there's a time change coming up when I'm recording this. And I don't know if I could talk about a time change without my feelings getting in the way of it. Keeping it sleepy, But you could have travel coming up. You could have guests. You could be going through something. Whatever it is, I'm here to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff so that you could fall asleep. And the only reason I run through all that stuff is because I want you to know that you're not alone in the deep, dark night. And when I say that, I realize that this is a podcast. It's digital. Or whatever. No one's ever, but here's the funny thing. I say that a lot, but no one's ever said, people use much more complicated words than that to say that instead of saying, like it doesn't make any sense. It's just a digital podcast. No one said digital podcast. If I time traveled into the past or something, maybe that would be a good name when podcast didn't exist, but digital did. See, I'm digital podcast, man. I'm there's you're 4-bit, I'm 8-bit. That's why I'm digital podcast. They say you're not making any sense. And so what's the cube root of don't embarrass yourself. Okay, just introduce the sleep podcast. Okay. I was trying to think if someone like a snarky line that different bit characters would say, well, I'm 32-bit, but I don't know what a square root of something is. I think that would be like 32-bit, like a 4-bit would say that to 32-bit or something. So, how did we start talking about that? What I wanted to tell you is I make this show because I know how it feels in the deep, dark night. Trouble getting to sleep, trouble staying asleep, tossing, turning, mind racing, got all those. And I've gone through various periods where I've dreaded bedtime, and I've started dreading bedtime for Sunday night on like Friday evening. And it definitely has hit me on Saturday at some point where I'm like, oh my goodness, I still got to go to bed this Sunday night. So if you've ever felt that way, or even if you feel like a mild version of that, that's what I mean when I don't want you to feel alone. And whatever it is that's keeping you awake, even if someone says it's small and not a big deal, it's probably a big deal to you. And the thing is that people listening right now can relate to how that feels. And that someone listening right now may have been through something similar to what you're going through, whatever's keeping you awake. And I don't know. I mean, from what I hear from listeners, that's important to point out because it's something we share. And it is important to remember. It's like, hey, I know how that feels. It's not easy. And it's not easy when someone says that's nothing or whatever. They say, well, you should be grateful. What do you mean? For which part? When I can't, trouble getting to sleep or trouble staying asleep? Or the thought, all of it. Put it on your gratitude list. And you say, okay, well, Scoots was already feeling not that great about the time change, and it sounds like the part of his brain that's bringing this up. And you say, well, okay, I get it. You don't sleep, but here, we get it. We say, yeah, we know what that feels like. Other people, they just don't know because they haven't experienced it before. And maybe they could reframe things in a much, they say, wow, that seems tough. I don't know what it's like. So like, I wish I could so that, but what we say here is if someone's nodding along because they know what it feels like in the deep, dark night. So that's one part. But the other part is that you deserve a good night's sleep. You deserve a bedtime. You don't have to dread a bedtime you could feel neutral about or even look forward to. And I really do hope this show can provide that for you. So that's why I say give it a few tries and see how it goes. But if it does not work, this podcast doesn't help you, or you just don't like the show already, that's fine. Like, go to sleepwithmepodcast.com/no thank you and check out the other podcasts on there. There's other sleep podcasts out there and other sleepy stuff you could try. So give that a try, because it doesn't change the fact that you deserve a good night's sleep, right? That the sleep you need so your life is more manageable, and the sleep you need on a regular basis so you could be out there flourishing. So that's important. So that's why I make the show. I've been there. I know how it feels, and I know you deserve better. And I just really hope this podcast could be a part of that for you, where you say, well, at least I got that podcast guy. He's going to talk about Baby Oso, a.k.a. Grogu. So that'll be nice. So that's why I make the show. What I do is I send my voice across the deep, dark night. I'm going to use lulling, soothing, creaky, dulcet tones, pointless meanders, superfluous tangents. So I'm going to go off topic. I'm going to get mixed up. Then I'll backtrack. You've already seen a bit of it. So the podcast is just it's a podcast you don't really listen to. That's what pointless meanders and superfluous tangents mean. It's a podcast you just almost listen to, or you kind of listen to, or you could listen to it. Kind of like, even though this is a total change in subject, just like I got a lot of stuff that I'm going to one day read, right? Or, oh boy, and I could read that, right? I could read that at some point. But maybe there's some benefit to that. You say, one day, holy cow, once I have that floating pram, and especially if it's self-guided, I mean, the pram does seem to have some spatial awareness, right? Or the Grogu stroller thing. And I know I've talked about it before, but it's not in this way. I say, well, then I'll be reading all the time. I'll be sitting there or maybe I'll have an I wonder if I could get one. I mean, who are we kidding? It's probably out of, but you say, well, maybe if I meet the Mandalorian, I'd say, could you work on one of those for me, please? I'll help you, whatever you need me to do within reason. I'm not very good at much, but I could narrate for you in your ear, like what? Well, and then now he's grabbing that thing. It's like a crescent. It's not a crescent, and now Baby Oso's, it's Baby Grogu. It's also not Baby Grogu. It's Grogu. And now he's moving to another table. I would say it's not a desk. It's not a table. It's a workbench. And now, with an icy steel gaze, he grabs the icy steel thingamajig. In his vice, he takes his vice in a vice-like grip. And he looks over his shoulder at a man talking and wishes he wasn't there. But he's hired me until, or I could, as soon as you get this adult size floating pram with an adjustable reading bed, I'll be right out of your hair. Beautiful hair, by the way. Don't worry. I won't tell anybody. You didn't have your mask off, just your helmet part. And who came up with that idea, right? I don't want to take credit for anything. But I did say, do you have a copy of those Mandalorian rules, the rules of Mandalore? And he said, it's called The Way. And I said, okay. But do you have it? And he said, no. And I said, well, could we get our hands on it? Because I said, I think you could take if you could just take your helmet part off. And, that was a big breakthrough for us, right? And now, behind his mask, he's rolling his eyes with his icy steel gaze. I can sense it behind the visor. I know it's not a mask, or maybe it's not even a visor. But as soon as he gets back to work on that adult-sized floating pram, I'll finish this sleep podcast intro, and I'll stop narrating every moment of every second. He's not known as the Mandalorian. Only in legend is he known as the Mandalorian. But if I tried to say his name, I would probably mess it up, and I could never spell his name. And I won't even try to say it, because I know when I get ready to do it, he starts to giggle behind his visor, and he says it's not a visor. And I say, are you sure it's not a visor? I said, like, if you had to go to someone to get ideas about buying a visor, would they be your advisor? Your advisor? Now, he's giggling. Jinjarin. Okay, sorry. What was I saying? Well, it's a podcast you don't really listen to? Oh, yeah, just kind of barely listen, just like that. I mean, you say, okay, I could see that. And I could see the floating pram adult-sized idea that you brought up last episode. Now a little bit more. Now I have a way to get it done. My solution to everything is just to be a pest. Use my natural skills for, if this is what happens during the daytime. This is why, the thing I hear so much at social gatherings is, excuse me, I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom. Or excuse me, I'll be right back. Do you mind? Excuse me. But in this situation, luckily it's in my imagination, so the Mandalorian can't get away from me. Also, I'm standing on his cape. That's really why, right? He's not laughing. So this is a podcast you just barely listen to. Like, no pressure to listen. You could just kind of barely listen and say, here's the thing. Are you sure he has a cape? I don't know. But I wouldn't recommend standing on his cape. Plus, he's probably smart enough to keep his cape at a trim level where it's not standable. And he doesn't have those cape droids that we saw in the first episode. So, talk about, did some droids win a contest? Not to totally go off topic once again. But I say, what happened? Did some droids win a contest? Not in world, like in our world. They're like, we're going to pick 2 droids to appear in episode 1 of Mandalorian. Send us your essays, and we'll cast you as, we'll give you lines in digital languages or, binary, whatever. But send us your essay of why you deserve to be a droid on the Mandalorian. And those 2 won. It's not well-known information. And that's because you say, I'm sure maybe there hasn't been discussions. I've been on, I'm not reading anything yet. So, okay, so this is a podcast you don't really listen to. I mean, that's made abundantly clear. It's also a podcast that doesn't put you to sleep. I keep you company while you fall asleep. I'm here to take your mind off stuff, to be your bore bud, your bore bae, your bore sib, your neighbor, your bore bestie, your bore burr, your bore friend, your friend in the deep dark night, to keep you company and talking while you fall asleep. No pressure to fall asleep, because there's people who are listening who can't sleep or who need a break during the day. So I'm here to the very end for them and for you. That's why the shows are over an hour. So you say, oh, okay, yeah, don't got to worry about it. Scoots is going to be here to keep me company. I just fall asleep whenever that is. I mean, then maybe tomorrow you're at breakfast, you're like, wait a second, that's not possible. There's no droid. We don't have droids yet, so there couldn't have been a contest. And I'd say it was on the back of a cereal that droids eat, Blue Planet Puffs. You've seen it in other shows and heard me mention it before. Blue Planet Puffs, or puffed blue planets. It's on the east of the Mississippi. It's known as puffed blue planets, but west of Mississippi, blue. Blue Planet Puffs. So, podcast you don't really listen to, doesn't put you to sleep. It's just here to keep you company. No pressure to fall asleep. Not really. Most people don't like the show on the first 3 listens. What else do we need to know? Well, structure of the show also throws people off, but it's very designed in a very deliberate way. So I'll just explain it to you, and then you could kind of see how it goes. The show starts off with a greeting, friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. So you feel seen and welcomed in, and you say, okay, I could check this show out. Then there's support, so the show could be free. Then there's a long, meandering intro that we're like 15 minutes into. It's somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes long normally. And it's a show within a show. It's most people's favorite part of the podcast, or maybe the majority. I'd say it's a majority, maybe not most, majority. So it is separate from the support. So I don't want you to miss out on it, because sometimes people, I don't know, they don't like the support, then they start skipping around on the show. But the show is kind of, I don't know, it just rolls one part into another. So, but the intro for regular listeners, they say, holy cow, we walked, Scoots didn't know what he was going to talk about. And now we know he doesn't know what he can, he doesn't even know what he's talking about in the best way possible. I mean, have I made the Mandalorian? I don't know if we've had the Mandalorian on in an intro before, but I know if you've watched the show and other shows, with like you'd say, I could see that person giggling behind that visor or mask. And also, you're right. How come, like, you only, like, and you say, no, they specifically said helmet in like 14 episodes. Okay. Yeah, I just didn't remember that part. Which they may have. You may be totally right. What is that called? Continuity brain? My brain, continuity, I don't even have coherence. Structure of the show. So the intro is here to ease you into bedtime. For regular listeners, it's like a familiar friend that talks about something different every time. The reason the intros are different every time is because for me and a lot of other people, those parts of us adjust. That's why other stuff didn't work for me. And why I decided to make Sleep With Me. Like I said, well, I can't listen to something more than 3 times before my brain adjusts. Even, Rain on a Camp Shell or whatever. Or like the recordings from, within the Mandalorian's helm. That's pretty nice. Rain on a Mandalorian's helm. I don't know if that was a bluegrass song. Was that, I don't know the names of those band members. I don't know. Were the Weeblos ever or no, that's from Cub Scouts. I said, is that one of the bands? Zob Weeblo and or somebody in the Weeblos? Or Weeble Wobbles. Those aren't Star Wars bands, though. Is that, no, that's from, that's from a book. Just thinking of strange names now. Okay, so, the intro, it's like a familiar friend who's different every time, but for everybody, it's part of people's bedtime routine if it works for you. So 2% of people skip ahead, but for most listeners, it's part of the wind down, whether you're getting ready for bed, you're in bed falling asleep, you're in bed getting comfortable, or you're doing some other chill activity. The intro is like a twilight time. Then there's support between the intro and the show. Again, so the show can be free. And then we'll talk about The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 2. And then there'll be thank yous at the end. So this is the structure of the show. This is why I make the show. I'm really glad you're here. I work really hard. I yearn and I strive. I really hope I can help you fall asleep. Thanks again for coming by. And here's a couple of ways we're able to do it for you for free twice a week. Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive, where customers who save by switching their home and car save nearly $800 on average. Quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $793 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2021 and May 2022. Potential savings will vary. Everybody, we're back with more Mandalorian. Holy moly. And this was an episode I really liked, especially like I talked about the apostate and seeing this kind of play out this episode and then thinking about the believer. I don't know. It was so, this is season 3, episode 2, chapter 18. Is it The Mines of Mandalore? Yeah, The Mines of Mandalore. Which I think has a nice ring to it, too. As someone who has titled their episodes, I say, The Mines of Mandalore. The only thing is with, like, the difference between a streaming show that's, like, on a paid platform and stuff versus a podcast. Usually we get rid of the, because for podcasts, the search works differently. Like, obviously, if you're, like, you know where to go, you only go to one place to watch Mandalorian, where Sleep With Me, like, podcasts are distributed freely, so any podcast app can use the show, like, grab the show. So, I mean, I don't know if I'll, I guess, will I take out The Minds of Man? Not, no, because it's, like, the title. Good question. You know the answer before I do, because I'm just recording it. You're listening to it. So let's see where we start. We start off with the Disney stuff and this one did not. Oh, we do the recap first. There's like green stuff. Oso looking at it. The armorer. If I visit the planet and bring you proof, if I take a bath in the living waters, I would be redeemed. This is the way. Previously, we see the songs that eons past foretold of a mythosaur rising up to herald the new age of Mandalore. And actually, I think this is an important piece. I don't know how. I would think that they're fairly involved, the showrunners of The Mandalorian, but I mean, I'm just taking a guess. Because these seem to be, the recaps do seem to be not just tied to the episode. And again, I don't listen to any Mandalorian podcasts or read anything because I learned my lesson a long time ago, like now with Mandalorian, with other shows. But so they show the Beskar staff or stave or thing that the Mandalorian had way back at the end of season 2 that he dealt that what he used to win the Darksaber. And I do think that's shown intentionally, or I'm projecting intention onto it because I don't know. I haven't seen any of the other episodes, but I would think that there's just a couple obvious things in this episode about the Darksaber, or maybe they're not obvious. I don't know, but they seem like, I mean, and I don't know what happened to that thing. It was made of Beskar. I wasn't paying close enough attention, but so this is just a recap. A tale of a mythosaur rising up to herald a new age of Mandalore. Then we see that staff, Bo-Katan cries or something. I wrote it out. Not Bo-Katan, though. Yeah, she once laid claim to rule, but with that sword you now possess. Her rule ended in tragedy. Then we see Mandalore go visit Bo-Katan. Hey, I'm going to Mandalore. And no good. It's plundered or ravaged there. Nothing left. Then it goes, the screen goes to black. We see the Lucasfilm thing. I'm pretty sure we get the the start of the music. It was sort of the start of the Star Wars music that comes next. Normal music. Then we see a party, racing cars, fireworks, and not a fireworks display, like individual fireworks. We see bunting. It's festive. And we see a Greedo-like character talking to one of our favorite characters on the show. Says, hey, let's get rid of this vehicle. Can't fix it, I guess, if you're not going to pay me. So a little comic relief. I don't appreciate your tone of voice, but I'll fix it. Very festive garb on the Greedo-like character, Greedo-like being. Yeah, I got to order parts from the mid-rim, probably be 2 months. What? You got to be kidding me. Settle your snout. I'll put a rush on it. But you got to pay me half for parts up front. And, now I got to work Boonta Eve. See ya. I do have a life, a big holiday. I got plans. I don't just sit around here and work all day. I'm popular. And then we realize she's running a little scam because she calls in, I don't know what scam. I didn't understand it. Jawas come in. We see this astromech droid. They bring in an engine for the car. Same color. Put it back on the speeder. Oh, so maybe she's got a deal where they strip the vehicle and then she buys the parts back from them. Oh, yeah, that is it. So it only took 4 times to figure it out. I was like, is she going to go racing? But then she goes, go strip another speeder. It's Boonta Eve. It's ripe. Then the Mando comes in the new ship. Oh, boy. You hear that? Purring like a nuzzle shrew. And Mando says, yeah, faster than I know what to do with. Well, we'll tune her up. Don't worry. Where's my guy? So cute. Grogu pops up, flips into her arms, says, you're leaping like a lurman. Grogu, was that his first word? I think he's talking to me. He said, Pelly. And he says, I'm here. I'm working. I need a droid part. Is it the Huts? No, boring. Droid part. Go get the Jawas and we get them before they start drinking. People really drink during Boonta Week. They need an IG memory circuit. She goes, okay, Grandpa. The Jawas come in. She says, yo, we need a memory circuit for IG. And they say, we've got nothing. No chance cubes? Is that what she said? And he goes, well, I need a droid rated for spelunking. She goes, spelunking? What in the heck? She goes, what are you spelunking? And he goes, Mandalore. Because they need something that can check stuff out. She goes, this Mastromech's perfect for it. We got a nervous Nelly of a droid, scaredy droid, she calls it. It's R5 Astromech, built for adventure. The droid even questions her right in front of Mando. You're supposed to pilot starfighters. Anti-tyranny. And he goes, this thing's falling apart, and I got no room for it on the N1. It's R5-D5. It's from the Rebellion. I'll put your droid port back in. And this little baby here can co-pilot with you. Then she tells the droid to settle its bolts. And she goes, I'll give it to you for half off with a free oil bath. And we see the droid in the droid port, Oso and Mando up front. She goes, you're an astromech, act like one. Don't be a scaredy cat. And I won't rely on it too much. So he goes, I thought it was built for an adventure. She goes, can't hear you. And the fireworks are going off. I do have to pause it here because I do have to say, then she says, may the force be with you. And again, I'm not exactly clear on history, but I would say, is the force catching on? Because I don't know if that's why she says it, right? Because it did get said towards the end of the last episode or the end of the last season, right? And there's supposed to be some time elapsed between now and then. So I don't know, just a thought. So Mando and Oso take off. May the force be with you. As who's saying it? Katy Perry? Fireworks? No, it wasn't Katy Perry. Was it Miley Cyrus? But yeah, makes you go, Oso, baby Oso. Chapter 18, Mines Mandalore. And we see space and the ship is going in towards the planet, and Oso's watching. I was trying to track Oso's ears, or Grogu's ears better. We see a cloudy planet, some storms, lightning, but green. And Mando says, this is the homeworld of our people. I know it looks scary, but the songs once sang, come here and take a bath. This is a place to bathe. Green and beautiful when the songs were written. Now it's just green and crystallized. And he goes, every Mandalorian can trace their roots back to this planet and the Beskar mines deep within. And you know what? I've never even been there. This is the first for me, bud. I grew up on that moon over there, Concordia. And then he points out Kalevala, that's where Bo-Katan lives. Same system. He shows Grogu the map. You have to understand maps and know your way around if you're going to be a Mandalorian. That way you'll never be lost. And Grogu's ears have stayed at midpoint most of this time. But he's very vocal. Then they go through the clouds. There's a bit of storm. Like they go through rainy clouds. Power goes down. Mando even notes, like, yeah, this is the generation, the interference on the planet. They come out of the clouds, fusion stuff. Magnetic fields are all out of whack. But there is clear, so he says there's not going to be any communication off planet. And we see the crystallized Earth, very dramatic, R5. So they land eventually. And he says, yo, R5, you get sampling, yo. R5 says, no, thank you. And Mando goes, no, by the way, that was not a request. That was an order. And then Oso's worried. And he says, don't worry, droid will be fine. And then he tells the R5, D5 or whatever, don't be a baby. And Oso's like still concerned. Oso's concerned as soon as they land. His ears their ears are slightly rising and going down. But yeah, so he's talking to R5 right now. But he says, don't worry, we can watch on the scope. And there's a little beep, beep, beep. And, of course, it disappears. And he goes, don't worry, it's just he says a power cycle. Let me do a reset. And he goes, okay, well, maybe it's some interference. I don't know. I'll go check it out. Oso doesn't like it. But, by the way, I got to get in your pram. This pram is we're really getting a lot of pram action here. Say the pram action in this episode is like 9 out of 10. The only thing would be more if there was lasers on the pram. But he says, get in your pram, seal it up. I got to, get out and pressurize my helmet and stuff. And we have an underlying sound of breathing effects. Oso's ears are down at that point. Like he says, don't worry. So then his ears go back to kind of midpoint. And... yeah, then we go into this cavern, but let me see. We're looking at the readout right now. Droid vanishes. The power cycled on its own. He didn't even have to do a reset. He goes, don't worry, it's just interference. This Oso's ears are pointing down. Or Grogu. Sorry, Mandalorian. He goes, normally this is droid work. I don't want to go out there. But I'll do it. Be right back. BRB. He doesn't say BRB. Great shot of moving clouds in the background. Or maybe the camera's moving. Can't tell. I guess both. So Mando's out of the ship, seals it back up. We can hear him breathing. See him walking. Looking around. Kind of gray sky. Seems like it's getting close to a sunset, maybe. But I mean, I don't know anything about it. There's thunder. Don't worry. I'll be right back. So Mando goes into this cavern, or entrance to a cavern. There's even a skylight. Then he looks over the city. I guess an underground city. I don't know if it was originally underground, because this is the Civic Center we see later, which I think we even see a dome, that it was originally like a domed city. But Mando looks over at it. It's like going down below him. as he gets deeper in this cavern. And then these Muppets appear, and they're not Muppets from the Muppet Show, but they do look like they're same, like Henson level Muppets. And they're kind of like if Animal the Muppet was crossed with like some sort of large fish-based being with it also with like great abs. And they do want to play the drums, but they think that the Beskar armor is drums. So they're trying to play the drums on the Mandalorian. And the Mandalorian first tries a bunch of moves, but eventually he goes to the Darksaber, which he doesn't really have a very good ability to wield it. He's having trouble lifting it. He actually has to use his other moves. I mean, he uses a little bit, but mostly relies on other stuff. But he tells them, like, basically, he cuts their drumsticks up. That's simple. So once they realize they're without their drumsticks, they just go home. Then Mando finds RD5 or whatever R5-4D. Was that their name? Oh boy. I don't know. R5 is the shorthand. D4, R5D4 maybe. Or 2D2, right? Okay, so Mando and R5 go back to the ship. He goes, yo, you all right? But before they get back to the ship, he goes, yo, give me an air report. Because Mando or Oso wants out. And actually R5 did that. So it does a laser projector. We hit 64 green, and we're up to 95 green. So that's good. Bo-Katan's right, and Mandalore not cursed. So then Pram, Mando, and Oso head off, leave R5 behind. And Oso's sitting up straight in the Pram. I don't know how it's piloted, but I'm noticing right hand of Oso does seem to be on something. Not sure if it's a controller. I would think it'd be mentally controlled, but who knows? Trying to look. I can't see. But Mando's looking around. Oso's looking around. Oso's ears are slightly down to mid. And he goes, that's the Civic Center down there. That's where Bo-Katan said to go for me to take my bath. So they do like a feather fall, that spell. They don't use feather fall, but they don't, no falling. They're just like, and they stop at one platform. Here's a question. I'm not kidding either. Were Yoda's ears that big? He says mine should be further down. We're on our own. Or does will Oso's ears remain the same size, but their head will be bigger? I'm just not remembering, but I don't know. I didn't pay close enough attention. No, I guess you're right. Yoda's ears were big. I don't know why I thought they were smaller, but I think I'm wrong. Okay, so now they're down in the depths. We see some glowing-eyed friends. You call them baby dragons. And they look around. Eventually, they turn on. Mando has on what do you call that? What is it called? Headlight? Not a headlight. It's called something else, but Oso has a headlight on the Pram, a single one. Headlamp, that's what they call them. We see some green-eyed friends, glowing green eyes. And Oso picks up his speed in the Pram and says, yo, there's weird beings down here. Small Muppets, swampy small Muppets, headlamp. Goes, by the way, these waters must flow to the mines. Then I'm going to take a bath in. Then they find a passage that goes down. And it says, let's check this out. They go into a bigger area, like a big chamber. There starts to be some new age music. And this one single part I didn't totally understand. I mean, I understood it, but it's like, how long was the person being waiting? But Mandalorian finds a helmet and says, let me clear this thing off. This is a Mando helm. And then there's sound effects or music, but then there's like a WTF sound effect moment with a wow exclamation point because there's a crab robot with a robot voice. And, but it's only partially crab. It's also like, it's only partially robot. It's a mechanical being, mechanical organic. But it somehow like wraps Mando up in a hug and marches off with him. So it was waiting. It said, I want to hug, like, I think the confusion lies in the end with it thinks it's Mandalore, like it has some association with stuffed animals to hug and hold and Mandalorians. It's an area of confusion. It doesn't see Mando or Oso. So the crab goes off, and it's a bit of a collector. So it says, okay, I'm going to hold this Mandalorian, or what I think is, it says, well, I'm going to put this Mandalorian here on my work table or something, my stuffed animal work table. And there's really, really cool sound effects and visual effects. It actually looks like a centrifuge. So what my theory is this is somehow related to some sort of Mandalorian planet-based Build-A-Bear type workshop, but for mechanical crab beings or something. Because it sets Mando up. It gets out of it's a mechanical being, a bit like Darth Grievous or whatever that dude's name is, General Grievous, but different. I don't know if the same background. And it gets out, and it says, I got to get my prep for Build-A-Bear. And I'm just using Build-A-Bear, though I'm sure there's like, I don't know what on Mandalore, like maybe those animal Muppets. I forgot what their names are. Bo-Katan says it later. But it starts booting up all these machines, which I have never gone to a Build-A-Bear workshop. I've been outside of one. But I think they have something like a cotton candy machine. And I think that's what it starts up at first. But like the Mandalorian's like hooked up to this, so some sort of centrifuge. It also takes away the Mando's darksaber and laser or whatever, the squirt gun. Meanwhile, Oso's watching this whole thing, stealth mode, stealth Grogu, and saying, what in the heck is going on? So this is a hybrid being. Yeah, we see everything. Mando's groaning. It says, this is not comfortable. I was embraced by a giant crab, a mechanical crab. So Oso tries to sneak up on this thing while this hybrid being's like working on getting stuff prepped. And there's some tension because you say, how does Mandalorian fit in with all this? Because Mandalorian is not a stuffy or plush being. And Grogu tries to use their powers to free the Mandalorian, but it ends up just making a noise, which gets the attention of this hybrid being, shoots some lightning bolts, but Oso flips into the pram, bumps it up to full pace, and flies out of there like at top speed before that thing could even react. 2 lights, and it has a headlight. And I mean, I've never seen a pram go this fast. There is a baby dragon that tries to kiss Grogu. And I mean, this is what happens when the planet, people try to find comfort. So the baby dragon and the hybrid being, they're just trying to find comfort. Then a Muppet, one of the animal Muppets, jumps in front of Grogu. And we don't see what happens. We only see the reaction is that the Muppet gets tossed out of the cave by force power. So we get a general idea that Grogu's got some serious force power. Grogu flips into the ship, seals it up, points at it, looks at R5, and then points at the star readout, but at Bo-Katan's planet, I'm assuming, because that's where they end up next. Grogu's in the driver's seat. Then we go to the castle. Bo-Katan's droid is there. I'm going to pause it here because I was trying to see. So Bo-Katan's sitting on a throne, no longer lounging, hands folded, arms on knees, leaned over. Does have a pretty sweet blanket and pillow set up for when Bo-Katan lounges. On the left side. So I don't know if Bo-Katan's left-handed because I'm not that observant, but right now I am. Helmet and the blanket and pillow are on the left side of this throne. Right side's clear. Also, while the throne is made from some sort of stone or cement or hard thing, there is a soft chair built into it. Okay, so the droid says, yo, somebody's coming into the atmosphere, unscheduled visitor. And Bo-Katan looks out the window, gets up. We hear a ship entering the atmosphere. And we get a great looking out the window, like a real window in rain. We see the S1 or whatever that thing is. Let's get rid of them once and for all. But you think that means one thing, but it really just means a very stern talking to. So when Bo-Katan says, let's get rid of him for once and for all, means I'm going to give this Mandalorian a very stern talking to. I'm not even kidding. At first I thought it meant something else. She has her helmet on under her arm. She goes out to the ship as it lands, and she starts her speech before the window opens. Maybe I didn't make myself clear. I said, I'm solo, not like Han Solo, totally solo. Then Grogu pokes out. Bo-Katan tilts her head. What happened? Grogu's ears go backwards. Download the astromech droid. Find out where they were. Grogu babbles. Then we see Bo-Katan's ship take off from a different, spaceport at the castle, go into outer space. And then we go in towards Mandalore. We see Mandalore from afar, go through the clouds again, the storm. And we even get a jet trail after we come out of the storm into the clear skies for Mandalore. And we see wreckage of the Civic Center. We kind of hear Bo-Katan's nostalgia. She tells Grogu, it used to be pretty here. It didn't used to be like this. This used to be a pretty sweet place. And Grogu's kind of trying to be empathetic but quiet, moving ears. Get like a pursed lip face of Bo-Katan, hard to read. There's great music, some kind of haunting music. And the ship lands, and we turn off power. She says, okay, kid, you got to guide me to him. Can you do that? Grogu says, you better believe it. Great acting. I don't know if there's and if Grogu's the first off the ship in the pram. And then Bo-Katan helmet on behind Grogu or Oso, They go, sun's in a similar position, sky's a little bit more clear. So again, I'm not sure on the time of day. Then R5's like, I got to watch this. So R5 puts it up on the screen. There's great wind sounds. They go into the cave. There's tension. So obviously Grogu can't explain Bo-Katan that this was full of strange Muppets that want to play the drums on armor or pram. Ears are down, kind of like to lower medium. And then Bo-Katan looks over the city, takes helmet off, and looks down, and his kind of breath's taken away. Even a grimace. Once a beautiful civilization, and my family was ruling it. Now, yeah, not great. Better for a D&D campaign than a history lesson. Let's go. So they head down, Featherfall style. Grogu's ears are flapping in the wind as they go down. And they go lower, lower, lower. They go into the kind of the underground kind of subway style area. And she follows Grogu. At first, going slow, there's some steam. Grogu's making noises, looking for glowing eye beings, which there are some. And Grogu does like, I don't like. Grogu can't say that just with sounds. And Bo-Katan looks back. Hey, I know this isn't easy. This is frightening, huh? But I need your help. And Grogu's ears are down at that, really down. Now they go up. Okay, let me turn on my light. Bo-Katan, headlamp on. And they continue on their mission. And there's even a little small talk time, as they go through. Bo-Katan says, I knew some Jedi. We used to work together, believe it or not. Not sure what they said about me, but, we used to be side by side. And you must be pretty good with the Force, huh? Because you got all the way back to me. And then Bo-Katan hears something, and it's more of these Muppets, but they're like on the roof. She pushes Grogu to the side in the pram and actually surprises them, like somehow hears it through the crystal, them moving around. Because these ones are, I guess they're a bit of bumblers. And they come down. How many we got? 3? They say, whoa, drum time. And we see kind of Bo-Katan's ability to deal with Muppets is totally different style than the Mandalorians, but very effective. And also has a glowing shield, a wrist shield, some sort of like force. He said, Grogu, watch, think your dad was the only Mandalorian, dude? I got some power. Oh, those are Alamites, by the way. Yeah, that makes sense. They're fans of animal Alamites. Then we go to the back to this Robo dude who's kickstarting the stuffing, like the stuffing. I guess it would be like something that kind of fluffs the stuffing fluffer. So it's a machine to fluff stuffing before you put it in a stuffy. Now, the confusion lies with the fact that this being believes the Mandalorian is a stuffing-based being, which the Mandalorian is not. And so eventually it says, well, I'm going to use your stuffing to restuff my stuffy. So the Mandalorian just groans and says, this is not good. And then all of a sudden Bo-Katan shows up, says, this must cease, shut it down. And at first it looks like the hybrid being is going to be pretty effective, but then Bo-Katan finds a Darksaber. And this is what I mean. Like, once Bo-Katan holds the Darksaber, it's over. It has the shield. I mean, at first, Bo-Katan, like, shuts down the first hybrid thing, but doesn't realize that it's also like a mini crustacean helm. So the being makes a movement with its crustacean helm, and she goes, Din, can you hear me? Then he goes, behind you. She goes, by it's Bo-Katan, I know you're not a teddy bear. And he says, behind you. And then the being has gotten into the giant crab. But again, the giant crab even has no match for Bo-Katan with the Darksaber. And none of this is actually, like, this is all action, exposition through action. But it's pretty good exposition. Holy cow. She just took apart the crab piece by piece. Then gets, we don't even see it. We just see a close-up of Mando. She walks towards it. The screen goes to black. When it comes back, she's making tea, what I thought was tea, but it's Pog soup. And Grogu's kind of reaching out for it. There's also what looks like I guess it's a grill. I thought it was a silverware organizer. but it's a portable grill. And he goes, what happened? She goes, your kid, he came and got me. Quite the navigator. Mandalorian says, thank you for rescuing me. He says, I feel awful, but you were right. This place is not cursed. And she goes, really? Yeah, it's like, take a look around, buddy. And a great society, now a memory. Grogu wants the Pog soup. She gives it to Mando because he needs it. This was once a great society. Now it's gone. Nothing to cling to. And he goes, what is this? She goes, didn't you get raised on Pog soup? He goes, no, I lived on a moon. She goes, the irony. And any Mandalorian worth their armor, Mandalorian raised on Pog soup. Which again shows this other thread maybe of, then he gives the Pog soup to Grogu. And she goes, okay, let's go back to my ship and get out of here. He goes, no, I got to take a bath. That's why I'm here. I got to get back to the mines of Mandalore so I may be redeemed. And she goes, that's adorable that you're following these children's stories. But there's nothing magic about the waters. You can take a bath anywhere. And he goes, without the creed, what are we? What do we stand for? We're scattered around like stars in the galaxy. This is how we got through stuff with the creed. You rescued me. I'm always in your debt, but I still have to take a bath. It's my obligation. And she goes, I'll go with you. Goes, to the living waters? She goes, yeah, I'll help you. You'll never find them. I'll help you get to your place to take your bath. And he again says, thank you. She goes, don't thank me till you see the water, dude. Grogu's watching and kind of making little comments every once in a while. We get down to the base level again. Bo-Katan pulls out some sort of floating glow ball. Well, maybe that's later, but says, man, this used to be nice here. Mandalorian's like, it looks like it's been centuries. She goes, no, it's just the Empire punished us, wipe away our memories. And he goes, must not be easy being here after seeing how beautiful it was. And she goes, well, you know what hurts more is the fact that some people some people broke away from us, weakened our power, and that we couldn't stand up to the Empire then because we were fighting each other. And she goes, here's the way, the entrance to the mines of Mandalore. And then I think now she uses the glow ball. So in addition to all the headlamps, pretty cool, pretty handy. Yeah, these mines have been here thousands of years. Living waters are below. He goes, have you been there? She goes, yeah, when I was a child, I took the bath, I took the creed, just like in episode 1. I mean, I was, the first episode of this season, I was showered with gifts, it's a different time. Rituals are theater, by the way. They just want to see the princess recite the tenets and with her father looking on. Heartwarming spectacle. And Mandalorian says, what? I don't know, maybe your dad was proud. She goes, yeah, he was, because I behaved. I didn't want to embarrass him. And Mandalorian says, your father sounds like an interesting man. I would have liked to known him. It was just so robotic in a good way. And she goes, yeah, he was a great man. He defied, and there's like this heartwarming moment here because she goes, yeah, he had to give it up to protect Mandalore. And Mandalorian stops walking, he gets choked up. And he goes, this is the way. And obviously she's touched. And then Oso staring at her, Grogu. So she goes, what are you looking at? This is a moment of vulnerability for us, too. Okay, so then we go into this, another chamber. And she goes, there it is, living waters, same as regular water, backside of water, like they say on that ride. And she goes, I'll give you the full tour. There's a big landmark sign right here. The mines date back to the age of first Mandalore. According to folklore, the mines were a mythosaur lair. Mandalore the Great tamed the mythical beast. And that's where our signet was developed and the symbol of our planet. She kind of tilts her head. That's it. And Mandalorian is just kind of staring at the water. It's kind of like a temple. And she goes, "Are you okay?" And he's in he's having a moment. He takes off his cape, takes off whatever's going to, whatever can't get wet. And, it goes down. So at least some water could touch his skin, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's necessary, but he starts to slowly go down these steps that go into the water. And she doesn't realize it until it's too late. She says, "The last step's a doozy." So he goes down the steps, but like there's a drop off. He goes, "I swear on my name." He's saying the thing and the names of the ancestors that I shall walk the way of the Mandalore. Dips his hands in, Bo-Katan's touched, and the words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart. And then he drops off the last step under her, and she dives in to catch him. And she has to use like jets because he was not ready or something. And she actually manages to turn her lights off to find him. And so very dirty bathtub, I'd say. But she dives after him, heads to the bottom, finds him, grabs him. And it's a pretty deep dive, but it was cool. I mean, especially the fact she turned her light off till she found him. Glowing. His headlamp was still on, luckily. She scoops him up, but as she heads to the surface, she sees a mythosaur swimming around down there. It would kind of make eye contact with it, and then it swims off. And she's kind of totally stunned. Like, that was just a mythosaur. Kind of looks like a bit of like an elephant. And just looks at her and then swims away. And she comes out. Oso says something. Everybody's out of breath. Mandalorian's, he says, thank goodness. And Oso comes and checks on him. We zoom on Bo-Katan, who's catching her breath. And that's the end of the episode, except for the art, of course, which comes up next. First, kind of the plains of Mandalore with the ship coming in. Then Mando walking on the plains with some of the wreckage of the Civic Center in the background. Then the Animalians, or whatever they're called, Muppets. Then down, getting ready to go down into the city. Then Oso in the cockpit with the baby dragon. Then Bo-Katan looking off from her castle, the parapets. I don't know if those are what they're called. Then Bo-Katan's ship landing and walking with Oso, then her and Oso going down. And there's actually a steam effect on this photo to give it some movement. Then the robot crab with Mando holding it. Then Bo-Katan versus the robot crab, an action pose. Then Bo-Katan making tea and Mando resting. And then the temple with both of them standing side by side with flashlights, it looks like in their hands, and Oso in the middle. And then the episode comes to a close. Yeah, so let's see what else. I was going to look some stuff up here. Okay, let's start with Boonta Eve. What do we got? A lot of listings on it here. Boonta Eve Classic, Boonta Eve Cantina. Oh, that's a real event. Okay, this one's on Nerdist. Let's see who wrote it. It's loading. Boonta Eve, what to know about it? Does take place on Tatooine. Too bad Wendy Marstrap's not here yet. This is by Michael Walsh. Came out March 8th, 2023. What to know about the important Star Wars holiday. Okay, the Boba Fett, I don't know about all this because I didn't see everything, but the Hutts were the ones that gave them Boon to Eve, the celebration. Even without the Hutts in charge, what is Boon to Eve? A major holiday. It got stretched into a week-long celebration of drinking and revelry and fireworks. It was originally secular in nature to honor one of the Hutt's family members' rise to godhood. Bunta Hestilic Shadru. It was somebody, I don't know. Modern canon, we know technically very little about them other than they rose to a godlike status. The Boonta Eve Classic is the most famous event. It's held in the Grand Arena. Flag parade, and a race or entrance reach up to 700 kilometers per hour. We didn't see any of that. In one of the movies, though, that's so is pod racing, I guess. So yeah, that's it. It's a big celebration to celebrate somebody. Okay, now we figure out Astromech and Greedo. Greedo. How do you spell that? E-E-D-O, right? Greedo. I keep hitting I instead of O. Greedo, Star Wars. Oh, yeah, so Greedo Tetsu Jr. is a fictional character, a Rhodian bounty hunter from the Tetsu clan who worked for Jabba. So Rhodian, that's what I was trying to... Rhodia is according to the Wikipedia, home planet of the Rhodians, including Greedo, remote swampy planet. And it was part of the Galactic Senate during the Clone Wars. That's all we know. What else do we need to know about Greedo? Oh, no, that's a list of Star Wars planets. Here we go. Greedo dealt with, Han Solo, that whole thing. What else we got? Appearances, Betrayal. Greedo was in a holiday special and Phantom Menace and Clone Wars. Wow. And in Star Wars #2, Marvel Comics, Legos. So that, I don't know, so we didn't, I mean, I guess I knew enough. Okay, Astromech droid, according to Wikipedia. Or not, I'm having trouble finding Wikipedia in this list. There's Wikipedia. A lot of Star Wars. Guess we'll go to the Wikipedia. That's like if we get there, let's see here. Well, here's the dork side of the Force. 7 droids every Star Wars fan should know. Astromech droids, here we go. Who wrote this article? Brianna Allers from 1 month ago. Astromechs are a diverse group of droids whose main purpose is repair ships and be a co-pilot. Some of them can do other stuff, but they communicate using beeps and whistles in a language called binary. One of the most popular types is the R-series droid. There's also a C-series, which is similar to the R-series. They're older, though, with boxier shape. And then BB-8 is part of the BB series. So BB-8 is an astromech. Cool. And then C-3PO is a protocol droid. There's also RA protocol droid. But that can also do other things. C-3PO. So yeah, that's a little bit about droids. And yeah, that's everything. Good night, everybody. I will see you. May the Force be with you. Good night. I just want to thank everybody who's been sharing about the podcast on Twitter. And if you share about the show, if you have a chance, just let me know. Either tag me, Dearest Scooter with a T, Poor dear Scooter gets a lot of Sleep With Me related stuff. But what do you call it? Yeah, let me know. You could also fill out the form at sleepwithmepodcast.com/sponsors and sponsor. Just let me know you shared about the podcast. And I can send you a thank you video. Oh boy, we got a lot of people to thank. Let's see here. We got Raina, who told PG, who told Steven about the podcast. They were all sharing. Kim, spreading the word on there too. Teresa, thank you too. Odd Devin, thank you so much. Andy, thank you so much. Teresa, thank you so much. Amy, thank you so much. DY, thank you so much. Rachel, thank you so much. What else we got here? Maddie and Supa, thank you so much. TechNet, thank you so much. Lily, thank you so much, and shout out for geocaching. Matt B, 6 years listening and supporting the show. That's pretty cool. They had their sleep anniversary. Lisa, thanks so much. And yeah, that's everybody. Thanks so much, everybody, for supporting the show, spreading the word. Show exists free. The podcast can be able to support it directly on Patreon or support our sponsors. And we grow by people just spreading their honest experience about the show. It really is a huge help. Wireless Goat, Luna. There's PG again, spreading the word. Joel. Rachel. So, yeah, thank you so much, Sally. So, yeah, couldn't do it without the people. Like, the show would not exist without the support and wouldn't grow without sharing. So, thanks, everybody, and good night. Hey, everybody, this is Scoots. You just got about 2 weeks to save 16% on annual subscriptions. You don't want to miss out on Subscriber Summer. Ray and I just recorded 3 episodes of Ray walking. I'm going to start doing Sundays in the Bay, where I'm recording myself walking in different places in San Francisco area. We've got catalog episodes, Fearless Flyer episodes. Those are all going to be subscriber only this summer. You do not want to miss out on Subscriber Summer. So sign up, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron. Sleepwithmepodcast.com/patron, but do it by the end of the month so you save 16% on annual subscriptions. Couldn't do it without all of you. Those of you that have been following and know about my apartment flooding out and stuff. I'm recording in a car, but I'm doing it chill and easy. So thanks for the support and good night, everybody.